Here are the answers to the learning opportunity 8A.4, probability independent events. After I give these answers, you'll have the minus number. Please make sure you report that to me sometime today. And after I go through all these answers, I'm going to go through every single problem, although I would recommend skipping most or all of that depending on how you did. Just know that there is feedback for every single problem after this slide. Number 1, 1/15. Number 2, 2/15. 3 is 2/15 also. 4 is 4/15. 5 is 1/5. 6 is 2/5. 7 is 4/15. 8 is 8/15. 9 is 1/24. 11 is 11. I'm sorry, I skipped over 10. 10 is 5/24. 11 is 1/8. 12 is 1/4. 13 is 1/8. 14 is 3/8. 15 is 1/12. 16 is 5/12. 17 is 1/18. 18 is 1/12. 19 is 1/6. 20 is 1/3. 21 is 1/36. 22 is 1/4. 23 is 2/9. 24 is 4/9. 25 is 1/25. 26 is 1/10. What do police put on a bad pig? Handcuffs. Hilarious. Number 1, probability of white is 1/5. Probability of A is 1/3. So the probability of white then A is 1/15. Number 2, probability of white is 1/5. Probability of B is 2/3. Probability of white then B is 2/15. Number 3, probability of striped is 2/5. Probability of A is 1/3. So the probability of striped then A is 2/15. Number 4, probability of striped is 2/5. Probability of B is 2/3. So the probability of striped then B is 4/15. Number 5, probability of not striped. If striped is 2/5, not striped, the complement is 3/5. Probability of A is 1/3. I see a common factor, 3 and 3. So I get probability of not striped, then A is 1/5 in simplest form. If you had 3/15, you would have had to realize to simplify that because you didn't see it at the bottom. Number 6, probability of not striped, we just did, is 3/5. Probability of B is 2/3, 3 and 3 cancel out, and I get 2/5. Number 7, probability of white is 1/5, so not white is the complement, 4/5. Probability of A is 1/3, so the probability of not white, then A is 4/15. Number 8, probability of not white is 4/5. Probability of B is 2/3. Probability of not white, then B is 8/15. Number 9, probability of blue. There's only one space labeled blue, so 1/4. Probability of rolling a 2 is 1/6. Probability of blue then 2 is 1/24. Number 10, probability of blue is 1/4. If probability of 2 is 1/6, probability of not 2 is 5/6. And so the probability of blue and then rolling a number that is not a 2 would be 5/24. Probability of yellow is 1/4. Half the numbers on the dice are even, so 3/6 or 1/2. So the probability of spinning the yellow space and then rolling an even number would be 1/8. Probability of spinning red, you have to look closely and realize there are 2 red spaces, so 2/4 or 1/2. We know the probability of rolling an even number is half, so the probability of spinning red and rolling an even number is 1/4. Probability of blue is 1/4, so probability of not blue is 3/4. Probability of rolling a 5 is 1/6. 3 and 6 have a common factor of 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the probability of not spinning blue and rolling a 5 is 1/8. Probability of blue is 1/4, so probability of not blue, the complement is 3/4. Half the numbers are odd on the die, So I get 3/8 probability of spinning a space that is not blue and rolling an odd number. Probability of red, again, is 2/4 or 1/2. Probability of 4 is 1/6. So the probability of spinning red and rolling a 4 is 1/12. Probability of red, again, is half. Probability of not 4 is 5/6. So the probability of spinning a red space and rolling a number that's not 4 is 5/12. It might be interesting to note that it's not that hard to spin a red. Half of the spaces are red. It's very easy to roll a number that's not a 4, but to have both of them happen, it's less than half probability. I guess it would have to be less than half if spinning red was half, and unless rolling a not a 4 was certain, you'd expect it to be less than half. So that wasn't as interesting as I thought at first. If anybody's even listening to this, unlikely. You probably crushed this and you're not even watching this. All right, probability of picking a black marble is 1/6. We replace it, which makes these independent events, and then once it's replaced, back to this situation, the probability of picking a white marble is 2/6, aka 1/3. So the probability of picking a black marble, replacing it, mixing them up, and then picking a white marble is 1/18 overall probability. Probability of picking a white marble is 2/6, which we already determined is 1/3. Probability of striped is 1/2. So the probability of picking a white marble, replacing it, and then picking a striped marble is 1/6. I'm not working in order. I think you noticed that I'm not working in order because I wanted to have space to work, so I moved these down here. I'll do those in a minute. I did 17 first. I just did 19. Now I'm doing 21. Probability of picking a black marble is 1/6, and when we replace it and mix them up, it's still 1/6. So the probability of picking black, replacing it, and picking black again is 1/36. Probability of picking a white marble is 1/3. So the probability of picking a marble that's not white must be the complement, 2/3. So there's a 2/9 probability of picking a white marble and then not picking a white marble after replacing the first white marble and mixing them up. Number 18, probability of picking a black marble is 1/6. Once you replace it, mix them up, the probability of picking a striped marble is half, 3/6 or 1/2. So the probability of picking a black marble, replacing it, mixing them up, and then picking a striped marble is 1/12. Number 20, the probability of not picking a white marble is 4/6. The probability of replacing that non-white marble and mixing them up and picking a striped marble is 1/2. And I could have made this 2/3. So I end up with getting I can make this a 1 and a 1 now. If you get 2/6 or 1, this applies to 1/3. Probability of picking striped, replacing it, and then picking striped again, it's half each time. So it's 1/4. 24, the probability of not picking white marble is 2/3. Replacing it and then picking a non-white marble again, 2/3 again, so overall 4/9. Test has 2 multiple choice questions, each with 5 choices. What's the probability of guessing the correct answer to both questions? Probability of correct is equal to probability of correct multiplied by the probability of correct. Probability of correct, if there's 5 choices, is only 1/5. And the second problem you guess, it's still 1/5. Those are independent events. Whether you guess correctly on the second question is not influenced in any way by whether or not you guessed correctly on the first question. So the overall probability is 1/25. Number 26. One letter is randomly selected from the word math, like Scrabble tiles, and a second letter is randomly selected from the word jokes. What is the probability that both letters are vowels? Probability of vowel is equal to probability of vowel multiplied by probability of vowel. Probability of vowel for math is only 1/4. There's only one vowel, the A, 4 letters to choose from. The probability of vowel on the second word is 2/5 because there's an O and an E out of 5 letters. The 2 and the 4 have a common factor of 2, so that becomes a 1 and that becomes a 2. And so you get a probability of 1/10 of picking a vowel and then picking another vowel.